Hey guys, hope you all have been well. Welcome back to my channel. As you can see from the title, today I'm going to be doing a comparison video between the new holiday Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm face palette. This is what the box looks like, as well as the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Universe Unlocked face palette. I would say these are probably the top two releases for face palettes for this holiday season, and so I thought it might be fun to do a comparison on my tan skin in case you're on the market on picking up one and not quite sure which one to go with. Now this is going to be purely based on my preferences, what I look for in products, so take it with a grain of salt, but just know that I'm going to be 100% honest. Okay, so on this side, I'm going to go with the Charlotte Tilbury palette. This is made in Italy and it has 4 shades. I will be leaving a link to both of these products down below, as well as the prices. And here is what the palette looks like. We have a highlighter, a blush, and then 2 bronzing / contour options. And this is what the front of the packaging looks like. And this is what the back looks like. And this has a total of an 18-month shelf life. On this side here, I'm going to be using Hourglass, and this product too is made in Italy. I haven't owned anything from Hourglass in a very long time. I believe the last thing I owned was the Ambient Lighting Trio, but I have heard and seen many reviews on their holiday palettes like these, and I'm hearing that this is one of the best that they've had in a while. So I did get the deeper option, and it has this like brown marbling on the front, and I hear it's a lot better packaging in comparison to previous years. But this is what the palette looks like here. There are 5 options in this palette: 1 powder, 2 blushes, a bronzer, and a highlighter. And this is what the back looks like. And this palette has a 12-month shelf life. Do we ever really follow the rules of these palettes? No, they're just suggestions. But we all know why you're here. You want to see it on the face, and I want to see it on the face too. So let's get started. I think for Charlotte Tilbury, I want to use my BK Beauty 104 brush. Sorry guys, I'm slightly sweaty and I'm scared to dip this moistened brush back in there and get hard pan. But I was saying that I wanted to see how this would translate on my tan skin. Sometimes these face palettes only suit a certain type of skin tone, usually from light to light medium, I would say. So I'm starting off down here with this lighter contourish product, but on my complexion it's not coming off gray. It is lighter on my complexion, but I do see it. And then wiping off the brush and going in with the deeper shade. This doesn't feel powdery. It's almost that cream to powder finish. And I noticed that a lot of brands that choose to produce some of their products in Italy tend to have this type of finish where it's almost creamy, and I'm not complaining because it is a beautiful formula. Now this shade is definitely showing up on me, and I like how it's creating even more depth on the skin. And this is definitely warmer, very easy to blend. Beautiful. The time has come, guys. Unfortunately, I have to put my hair up. In terms of my preference, I like that I have both. I like that I have something lighter. Maybe when I'm using very minimal foundation or just using concealer, I could definitely use this product. But for more everyday use, I think this is so beautiful, and the texture on it is amazing, and it's not patchy at all. I think the color on my complexion is very complimentary. Let's move on to blush, and I'm going to be using my MAC 116 brush, dipping it into this blush up here, and it looks like this is going to be a glowy blush, and it seems like something that I can build onto. It's not high pigment initially. Oh yeah, that definitely has a glow on it. And I love the way this blush is transitioning into this bronzer. I think they picked the shades very well. Like, it's so seamless one into the other. And the funny thing is, like, I don't own face palettes whatsoever. This is probably, guys, I really can't even tell you if I've ever purchased one before. So this is like really new to me. Now lastly, moving in to this highlighter right here. It looks like a golden champagne shade. I have a feeling this is going to go fairly well on my complexion. Oh yes, this is one of those wet looking highlighters. Some highlighters look very metallic, very icy looking. Some tend to just look like glitter on the skin. And then there are certain ones, when done perfectly, it looks like wet skin. It is so beautiful. It does highlight my texture. Highlighters will do that on anyone with textured skin. But I just love that kind of wet glow as opposed to all the other types of finishes. By the way, this is a BK Beauty 108 brush. Guys, is that not fire? It's so beautiful. I love the transition of all the shades. You don't see kind of the demarcation from shade to shade. They blend beautifully into each other. And even face on, as I'm looking at it in the mirror, it just looks so put together. I love the color selection. I think they did a really good job at figuring out the shades so that it looks very cohesive. All right, so let me just make sure I have all of my brushes cleaned and ready to go. With this Hourglass palette, I have an extra product, which is a finishing powder. I believe it is in Radiant Light, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. And I want to just try and see what this looks like all over my skin. So I'm going to use my powder brush and just kind of sparingly place it throughout my face. Oh, it's a very subtle glow. It kind of it kind of looks like the MAC MSF. If you look at the MSF, there's a bit of marbling in it that has this kind of sheeny finish. By the way, I apologize. I don't know what's wrong with the weather. It goes hot, then it goes cold, and then there's thunder and lightning. But yeah, just a very subtle sheen on the skin. And you can see it because the powder that I had underneath was a matte powder. It was the Rimmel Stay Matte. So there is a bit of sheen on the skin using that powder, and that's beautiful. And now we can dig into this bronzer. I'm really excited. I've never used an Hourglass bronzer or blush or highlighter, so this is a first for me. And I'm going to be using the MAC 135 for this. I was a bit concerned I wouldn't get pigment with this, but I see it. It's got color, has great blendability so far, and I love that it isn't too pigmented. I love building up my products, just preference. My brush is quite big, so getting into the pan is a little difficult, but stuff like that doesn't really bother me. Okay, Hourglass, I've been sleeping on you. That is so pretty. And the way that blended, I feel like it blended better than this side. This side is beautiful, but it's a comparison video, and I feel like the Hourglass was easier to blend. All of these products in here have a bit of sheen, so you're not going to get a matte finish like you would get with the Charlotte Tilbury palette with those two bronzers. This palette is entirely sheeny or glowy. I like that. I really like that. Now I've got two blushes to choose from, but I want to use both. So I'm going to start off with this one and then build with that one. And I will be using the same blush brush in 116 from MAC, starting off with that pinky shade. Ooh, got pigment on it. It's got good pigment, but it blends out very easily. Ooh, that's pretty. Let me just wipe this brush off, and then I'll be taking that more plum shade on top and try and just use that on the back burner right here. Oh, they're so easy to blend. It almost feels like it's a little manipulative because it goes on so pigmented, but once you buff it out, it seems like it just blends itself. Like, wasn't that so easy to blend? I have thoughts, but maybe I should save that to the end, right? Let's get the highlighter on and then we'll round up. So highlighter time, I'm really excited. It seems like a similar color to the Charlotte Tilbury one. I think they're the same color family, but there's more depth in the Hourglass one. Oh. Now this is a metallic highlighter to me. This is like a wet highlighter. You see the difference? Like, that's bam. You know, I shouldn't have been so confident. The shade itself though is beautiful, but that's that's strong. I'm tempted to buff over with my powder brush, but it's a comparison video, so that is where I'm going to leave it. So we can go back and forth and I can talk about each product. So final thoughts on my first impression of these palettes. Both are beautiful. I have no regrets so far on either one. Both of them have been surprising. Both of them blend beautifully into the next color. Again, there's no demarcation between the products. You can see on both sides they blend beautifully into each other. But I think in terms of the transition of color, in terms of like the depth and pigmentation of the color in each palette, I feel like this one is a little bit more seamless. Although there isn't like strips of product on this side, I can tell where my bronzer is, my highlighter, and my blush. Whereas this side, the gradation on it it's so seamless. But if we're talking like pure pigment in terms of how much color the product has, I would give it to the Hourglass one. I feel like this color story would fit people who have like medium tan upwards, whereas you might want to stop at about a medium leaning into medium tan with this side. I can't see it going anywhere beyond that, to be honest. So if you're my complexion, this would work. But if your complexion is slightly deeper to mine, I would recommend this side a lot better. I think you're gonna get more bang for your buck using this product. Okay, let's talk about product by product, section by section. Starting off with the sculpting products. I feel like with the Hourglass, all I'm getting is bronzer. I'm just getting color with it, bringing back life to my foundationed face. But on this side, I see the shadows. I see the hollowing out. Even just looking straight on, you can see the shadows along the perimeters of my face, whereas this side just looks warm. There's nothing wrong with either one. It just really boils down to preference. Do you want two sculpting product options, or are you okay with just using one? Also worth noting that the two products on this side were matte, whereas this one has a sheen. I personally like the Charlotte Tilbury options better when it comes to the sculpting powders. I like having the option of going warm tone and cool tone, and a daytime option and deeper option. So that works out better for me in terms of the sculpting products. Moving on to blush. Here's the thing. I think this side blends much more beautifully than this one. Not that it's bad, nothing here is bad, but this side blended just, it was perfection. The amount of pigment with such little product and the vibrancy of these colors, absolutely stunning. No questions about it. The blendability definitely won on this side. However, for my preference, the shade that I prefer is this side. So this color is something that I would pick, and I would pick this one over these two. But again, it's worth noting that if you're medium tan, this will turn out to be very subtle on your complexion, whereas this, you can definitely play it up. Using that pink shade very lightly, I had like this very light flush of pink, so there's a lot more options you can create using these two blushes. But just for me, in terms of color only, this was the better option. Both of them are glowy, and that shows on the skin. Both sides have a beautiful glow on it. Yeah, my texture looks pretty fine, and I'm not really bothered by it, so that might be another me thing. But just so that I put it out there, there is no emphasis with a texture any more than you would get with other blushes. So blendability, Hourglass wins. Color, Charlotte Tilbury wins. Highlighter, I think this is like a no-brainer. You saw from my reaction. I prefer the Charlotte Tilbury side. This is too icy for me. Looking at it in the viewfinder is like worrying me, because once I transfer this to my computer, I'm gonna be like, damn. But it's just, it's too metallic. It's too icy for me. If that's your thing, this one. So the base on here, the actual pigment, is a lot richer on this side. If that is your thing, go for it. It is absolutely stunning on the complexion. Like on my tan skin, this is a beautiful color. I just don't like how rich and metallic it looks on my skin. It's just not my preference. Whereas on this side, it's a lot It's a lot more subtle, and I feel like there's not as much base to it. It's just got a lot of glow to it, very wet looking, and this is what I would prefer on my skin. I just like this side better. But I think in terms of the color on tan skin, this is going to be beautiful. You can go with either one. I think it just boils down to the amount of pigmentation you want on the highlighter. So for me, this is the winner. Overall, I can't really pick one that I like better because there were certain aspects of both that I really liked, and I think that it overpowered the other palette. So I guess it just really boils down to what you're looking for. If you're looking for one palette that you can use every single day, you're into something a little bit more subtle, your skin tone runs from like light to medium, I would say the Charlotte Tilbury is probably the one that would best suit you. And if you want bright, poppy options, pigment, bam in your face, then I think the Hourglass is definitely the one to pick. I really don't have a favorite right now. What I'm blown away with is how beautifully these blend, and most especially the way they blend into each other. Like, you guys see this? Like, it's so, the transition, guys. The transition, you know that I'm all about that stuff. The more I look into the mirror, the more I see this as a summer palette and this as a fall palette. This side, I'm going out with my friends. It's warm out, we're just chilling, got some sunglasses on. And then on this side, it's like, wow, leaves are falling. I don't know what fall is, guys, just forgive me. I'm basing it off of stuff I've seen on TV. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope you found this comparison helpful. It was a first impression, so there's definitely things going to be coming up along the way. It will end up showing up on my videos again. But have I been converted into like face palettes? I don't think so. I'm more of a person that likes to pick my own products. But for my first two face palettes, this is like on point, okay? Good job, Charlotte and Hourglass. If you guys are interested in the rest of my makeup here, be sure to check me out on Instagram. There I post a photo of all my makeup looks along with all the products in the caption. Till the next video, I hope you all are doing well, taking great care of yourselves. I will see you all next time. Bye, guys.